Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of And Then the Bell Rang. We're back again, and joining me as always is my co-host Lex Lloydy. How you doing this week, Lloyd?
Same old, same old,
Oh
same old.
yes, nothing changes. Excellent. So
No, because you can watch these over and over again, and
you
the
can,
outcomes don't change. But I don't care. I
they
still watch
don't.
them still watch them anyway.
Yes, yeah, and this one was one that I'd not seen for a long time until you actually got the VHS copy of it. So it was I only got to see this through borrowing your VHS copy that you got. So
Yeah,
um,
and that would have been the only way I would have seen it because it wasn't on
yes,
live.
no, no. Most of these in your houses back then, you didn't get live on Sky or anything like that. You just kind of caught the eye. It was because what was it? Action Zone and Superstars and Wrestling Challenge back in '95. So they didn't really have much. They kind of showed Raw, but not really. But
Yeah,
it
we're
was
in
just
'96 at this point, so it's Mania still.
Mania. Yes,
Action Zone, although later in '96 it became Live Wire,
yes, yeah.
which is probably worth talking about another. We may have talked about it briefly in the Survivor Series episode we did, but
We did, yeah.
yeah, I think Challenge had stopped
Ah,
maybe
yes,
a year earlier than this. So we had we had Action Zone, we had Superstars and Mania. I think those were the three, and then we were getting Raw as well at
yeah.
this time. We started getting Raw in I want to say it was '95 in the UK,
Okay, yeah, yeah. It sounds
and
about
it was
right. So
yeah the timings changed. It ended up being on a Friday, and I think it was on at about 5 or 6 o'clock, and then
yeah,
it was on at 10 o'clock when it became 2 hours. And
yeah.
yeah, that's how we were watching it back in those days. And obviously, we had the magazine, which was literally about 3 months out of date in terms of what it was covering. It was.
Yes, it was.
That's how it
No, I
was.
remember. I remember getting. I remember getting the Royal Rumble results in the magazine in like when they were doing WrestleMania. And I was like, what? Why is it taking 3 months to tell us who won the Royal Rumble? We already know
Yeah,
who won the Rumble.
yeah. I
It
can
was weird.
vaguely remember reading the WrestleMania 12 results in the magazine. I want to say it was somewhere around July or August of '96.
Yes,
And you thought to
yeah.
yourself, Jesus Christ.
Although the magazine was
It's
pretty
a good
good.
magazine. Yeah,
It was
that's
a
right.
great
It was a
magazine.
good magazine.
But you just kind of wish that they would not take 3 months to tell you the results of a pay per view that had already happened. You're like, I've already
Right.
seen. Like, I remember the
You remember?
'92 Rumble, I remember getting the magazine in April, seeing the results. You're like, I know this already. What's going on? It's just weird, but yeah.
Do you remember
So
there was like a write-in segment, and it was called Ask Bret.
yeah,
Do you remember that?
I think so. Yeah,
You think,
ask Bret.
geez, that's just a different world. That whole
Yeah.
that whole magazine. You actually pick one up now and read one from 30 years ago. It's a very different world.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I used to love magazines back in whenever it was the 2000s, and the magazines today are one more expensive and two just like not what they used to be. The printed world, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but well, it is, but it's not as big as it used to be. But I used to love the rest of the magazines. The WWF magazine was always good, but they never really had any exclusives or anything like that. So not until probably '96, '97, where they actually had like superstar interviews and stuff like that, Stone Cold and Bret Hart and stuff like that. But yeah, the magazine was a classic, but they had some failings in the results. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
long time ago from when
it
I was
was.
last buying WWF magazines, literally about 30 years ago now.
Yes, yeah,
And we are
yeah,
actually, it was February of '96, so we are 30 years removed
we
from
are.
it. I
Yeah,
can remember watching all of this at the time,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and 30 years is a long time,
It
but I
is,
can
but it
remember
still
it
feels
very,
like
very clear.
yesterday.
I know
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, part of that must be getting old, but I really can.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, again, it's like you kind of wish it was still the '90s, but you're actually in the reality where you're actually not in the 90s anymore. You've moved on so long, but you said it.
No, I don't wish it was the 90s. I wish some of the values
Yeah, yeah,
were the
yeah,
same and would just update some of the old values, and appreciate um, just the worth of things more
yeah,
than we do today. And yeah, everything's so convenient it becomes no longer a treat almost. Even
yeah, yeah.
even
No, I see
watching
what you're saying.
movies, I'm flicking around the last hour or so, and there's so much choice. It's so easy, but it doesn't feel like a treat somehow.
No,
If I
no,
went
I
to
know
a
what you mean.
video shop and I browsed, like I
Yeah,
went and I bought two Blu-rays today,
yeah,
secondhand Blu-rays in CEX,
yeah,
and I just thought, oh, I'll give that a go. Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And that was fun. I quite enjoyed it, just picking them up and buying them. They're
yeah,
mine. It's physical
yeah,
media, and I still enjoy. I don't do it too often, but occasionally I will still buy them, and it's good.
yeah,
You can just
yeah.
appreciate it differently, I suppose. But that's just the era that we grew
Indeed.
up.
Yeah, I'm sort of growing my DVD Blu-ray collection back up again through eBay, so getting cheap movies for next to
I think
nothing.
I think they're getting cheaper because of streaming.
Yeah,
To be honest, I just think that's. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we will see another generation of physical media like coming through. Like we went from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray. I'm not sure we'll see another physical media generation. Actually, I think it'll probably stop at Blu-ray and it'll just become streaming based.
yeah, yeah,
That's just how it is.
yes, yeah. Which is a shame because you don't own anything and it's all gone. And if you want to
Yeah,
watch it
I think
again, you
in
can't.
30 years there'll be old timers like us that hang on. Like I still maintain a video player
Yeah, yeah,
VHS.
yeah.
I still maintain it because probably once a year I'll throw something on just for the hell of it.
Why not? Excellent.
We'll be the same. We'll be the
Yeah, yeah.
same. We're not going to get any better with age.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I bought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles box set trilogy on from Arrow release that was came out the most recent one. So, you know,
Right.
I was like, the first two movies were great. The third one's not so good, but it's still pretty decent compared to some of the newer movies. But
I haven't seen that one in over 30 years either. The third one, I remember it sucked, but I
it
must
did.
admit, if I was to watch it today, who knows? Maybe I'd be more forgiving or understanding. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
No intention of finding out.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. The first two movies are still great. The first one is still the best. But yeah, I mean, this. I mean, I think you had two. Did you have two copies of In Your House Six? This is our topic this week. Is In Your House Six?
No, not that I can remember. I remember between the two of us, there were a couple of In Your House threes.
Ah, yes, yeah, yeah.
I don't remember a double up of six.
Okay, okay. But yeah, so In Your House Six was a Coliseum video exclusive in the UK that you got your hands on, and you lent me after you'd watched it. And yeah, this is what we're going to talk about this week. It was the event that happened after the Royal Rumble. So we did the Royal Rumble 1996 and the fallout of Diesel and Bret and the
I
Undertaker.
don't think we have actually. I think we've done 97. I don't think we've done 96.
But we not.
I don't think so.
Maybe I got confused because I know we did In Your House Five, and maybe we just talked
Yeah,
about.
definitely did five. Definitely did In Your
Yeah.
House five. That was a good one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, we haven't done In Your Royal Rumble 96, but we'll do that at some point. But this was the event that was after the Royal Rumble. Obviously, Shawn Michaels had won a Rumble. Um, Bret
Yeah,
and Diesel
that's
were
right.
facing each other in a cage um, because Diesel would, he'd become a bad guy, but he was like a cool bad guy where he still had his fans every here and there who, if he wore a black glove, he'd slap your
I
hand.
think it was grey. I think all of that was a bit muddled up and
Yeah,
ambiguous, really. Shades of grey with that
yeah,
whole angle. I think, yes, he was, on the one hand, he was high fiving people wearing the Big D t shirts and
yes,
all the
the
rest of
black
it. But at the
gloves,
same time, literally everything he was doing and saying was
a
classic
heel.
heel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which he basically was. I don't think it's too hard to separate the two
Was it
personalities
me?
when you watch him around this time.
Did I? Was it me who kind of thought that Diesel was like the first? Because you had heels at the time, but yeah, this was like Diesel was like the first heel who was like portrayed as cool. He's like you know doing his own stuff, but he didn't care what the outcome was. I know,
I think
obviously,
there's a lot to be said for that,
yeah,
because it's probably not as recognised or acknowledged as it should be. But
mm,
yes, I think
yeah.
he is pushing boundaries. I mean, he's gone back to the edgy Diesel that he used to be when he was a heel in
But
93,
well,
94.
yeah, but he
So
didn't
he's
have as
turned
much
heel.
personality back then. He didn't have as much personality back then as he did there here.
No,
I don't
he
think.
was much better on the mic. He was more
Yeah,
experienced in the ring. I mean, I'm not saying that he was the greatest wrestler of all time, because I don't think he
no,
was.
no, no, no.
He had mobility issues
He
in the ring,
did.
but he had really good moves, and he was a big name.
Yes,
He was a
yeah,
big deal as well. So yeah, I'd defy anyone that said he was irrelevant, or he doesn't stand up.
no,
Um, I think he does. I mean, I wouldn't ever put him on the sort of Mount Rushmore or anything like that, but
no, no, no.
in terms of Hall of Famers, for me, he's
He's up
unquestionably.
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Deservedly so, actually.
yes, yeah. He meant a lot to the business. To be fair, so
Yeah,
um,
but I have to say, I mean, I went through a period where, um, probably in '95, when he was champion, I was generally quite supportive of him, and I wanted him to do well.
yes, yeah,
Actually,
yeah. But
yeah,
I
there's a
don't
lot to
think
be
they
said
booked him
about his
very
run,
well.
but no,
Yeah,
didn't
they
work
didn't
out
book
very
him
well.
very well. No, he didn't have great opponents either. I mean, I know Sid was opposing, but he wasn't the best. You had Tatonka, you had Mabel. Yeah, these are the kind of feuds that they were kind of putting with, and it just didn't work. I mean, the whole in your house free thing where they had Owen and Yoko supposedly going against Diesel and Sean, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden the
we've
Bulldog
never
gets
covered
subbed
that
in.
one. We've
No,
never covered it, but it was. I mean, it was literally a booking that came completely out of nowhere. It was a
yeah,
completely arbitrary storyline, and it
yes,
was literally just to spice things up a little bit. I
yeah,
guess in
yeah,
terms of creative and storytelling, I didn't think it made a lot of sense to suddenly make the tag division collide with the singles like that, and put all the titles on
no,
the line as they were, because it just came out of nowhere,
yeah,
and
and then they
it's
kind of
hard to build that credibly in such
yeah,
a short space of time. But
and they cheapened it when they had Owen not show up in the Bulldog as a replacement, and then you know Diesel and Shawn beat the
well,
Bulldog.
that's for another time, probably.
Yeah, yeah, no,
That
I
one,
know.
but
But yeah, 95 wasn't the best booked. Diesel wasn't the best booked champion. And I don't think Diesel can only go against the opponents he's booked against. I mean, they even somehow
yeah,
managed to mess up the Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 11 for crying out loud.
we say that, but
Um,
I mean, I
it
think
was a good match, but there was that.
he wrestles Bret at Royal Rumble, and he has a classic match. Not my favorite match, but he has a classic match. And he has Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, and it's a good match with the
Okay.
outcome and the way it was handled. You say what you want about it, and it's really between there and maybe Bulldog.
Yeah,
And then there in October, yeah, he doesn't really get anyone that deserves
it's
to
any
be at
good.
the main event.
No, it's not until the Brat match at Survivor Series, and that's when they decided to take the title off him. So it's yeah, wasn't the best booked run for him, but yeah, here I mean I'm trying to remember when Diesel would decided to leave. I don't know if it was this point or if it was after this point that he had already given like his
It's
notice
around
to go to
February, so
WWE.
Scott Hall Razor has given his notice at this point,
Yeah,
and within a couple of weeks, Kevin Nash's contract, was up anyway, which
yeah,
is coincidental. We're led to believe, and
yeah,
um, the the deciding factor, so it goes, and I've heard Kevin Nash talk about this, is disagreement over the finish of this match in the cage.
right,
Um, he wanted to basically wants to powerbomb Bret in the middle of the
Ah,
ring and
yes.
look like
Yeah, yeah.
he's got an absolute certain win, and Bret refuses to take his finish.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it's, I mean, I think the end result was pretty similar to what it would have been originally anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think there was, because it looked. I don't want to jump to the finish. We'll come to that later, but I mean, I think the whole thing was probably a big overreaction on everybody's part, really. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's as it goes, the story of why he left. That, and also, obviously, he wanted a heck of a lot more money for him and his family. And
Less
his family
dates.
was growing at that point as well, and less
Yeah.
dates. He's not got great knees
No.
either, so he's trying to look after himself and think about the future, and it's all perfectly normal things, quite natural
Yes. Yeah.
to think about.
So 100% on
Right.
that
I
one.
mean, if you were given the offer, I mean, would you take it? I would take it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, WCW double. I think they doubled his wages, didn't they? And then they gave him less dates. So, and they gave him a hell of a great storyline to come into. So,
Actually, it's a shame that bridges were burned like they were, because I know that they do come back for a little while.
yeah,
Um, but ultimately, when they came back in 2002, only lasted a few months, two
yeah,
or 3 months, and it's
uh,
that angle was all kind of chewed up and spat out, really. And I think a lot of it was just bridges burned over a period of time, and that was a bit of a shame. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, this is a pay per view uh, where I think they made an effort in the two big matches, which is the cage match and the Shawn Michaels Owen match. Yeah, at least they had some stakes
Yes,
in
yeah,
the game.
yeah. They did. The rest of the first match was pretty funny. So let's go. This was from the Louisville Gardens. The attendance was
Jim
500.
Cornette country,
Yes, yes, yeah. Attendance
very
was
much so.
5,500. Um, and it was just I mean, the Indie Houses were what they were. They were just like a 2 hour show of continued the storylines. So,
It's not that many
first,
people, really, is it? When you think about that,
it's
it's
not,
not.
no.
It's not a great game. It never looked like it was that sparse. Although you could see, I do remember there was like a grid ceiling above the indoor arena.
Yeah,
And I thought, oh god, this is. It kind of reminded me of '94 a little bit. Some of those Monday Night Raw episodes, you think, holy crap,
that's right. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
they
yeah.
were doing it in what I would call very, very large school gym type venues.
Yes, yes,
Um, they weren't really of a great caliber. Some of the venues that they were going to. I didn't think this was a great venue particularly, but it did okay. They dressed it well, as they usually did, and the
yeah,
cameras knew how to avoid shooting empty seats and all the
yeah,
rest.
yeah. I mean, they were in the Louisville Gardens, which was pretty a historic event, but only held like 6,000 people. So there were only 500 people from being a sellout, to be fair. So
Louisville Gardens. Yeah, if
yeah,
Wayne and Garth were there, they'd say Louisville Gardens. What a shitty garden. Yeah.
yeah. Thank God they weren't there. Um, so the first match was a crybaby match, which was Razor Ramon against the 1-2-3 Kid, and this was all about the fact that was it the Kid who challenged Razor to a crybaby match, or
It really doesn't matter.
no?
You
Okay,
shouldn't ask. You shouldn't ask questions like that.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to remember the
Um,
story. I know the
let's just
storyline
get
of
it
the Kid.
straight. Let's get
Yeah,
it straight, because there's plenty of weirdos out there that probably really enjoyed this, and you know, it's just not right.
no,
It's just not right. Um, I think for the angle that was and the heat that there was,
yeah,
they should have just make it a ladder match, or uh, you know,
yeah,
a no holds barred match, or just something credible where they can legitimately just kick the shit out of each other, or raise a, because at the end of this match, it's a really stupid way to finish this angle. It's dumb. It doesn't actually work. It's supposed to humiliate the loser, and I don't
Yeah,
think it.
wait,
I mean, it looks stupid, but it
it
doesn't
does look
really.
stupid. The kid was crying. He's like, "Don't cry, kid. Don't cry." It was pretty damn. It was pretty damn random and daft, and
Those two had
they,
had better matches before this
yeah,
one. For me, I just didn't enjoy the whole the kind of I thought it was gross actually.
okay.
The loser being made to
Putting a diaper and
put a diaper in the ring and actually
yeah,
this this thing ridiculous shame because you've got two what are top guys involved in the bullshit.
yeah, yeah. It's
So I don't have anything particularly positive to say about the match other than the two guys in it were great
they were.
as characters and wrestlers and guys. Uh,
They did the
but
best of what they were
yeah,
given.
they were both. I think they were both let down that night
Yeah,
actually by the booking and just the stupidity of. I mean, it's if it had happened 2 or 3 years later, you'd have been blaming Vince Russo for it.
true.
You
You
would.
you, you
You would.
kind
You'd
of
be
wonder.
what a dumb idea. Who
You
came
kind of
up with
wonder.
that?
Yeah, you kind of wonder who's like. Was it Vince who came up with this? It's like I don't know what you do. Let's put a diaper on the loser of this match, and then
Well,
put
like,
some
all I can
goddamn
say about
talcum
that is
powder on him.
there's plenty of weirdos out there
Yes,
that would
yes,
that would get off on this match and the outcome
yes.
of the match. And I just think it was. I didn't. Well, 30 years ago, I wouldn't have been
You wouldn't have been that
thinking
interested
it
in it.
was like a no. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have been thinking like there's plenty of weirdos out there that might look at this differently to how I am as a teenager. I just looked at that and thought, what's stupid.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move on from that one then. The next
It's
match was
while I'm shitting on it, I'm shitting
oh
more on the creative. I'm not shitting on the the participants. They have a decent enough match, but I don't think it's their best.
no, no. I mean, I know what you mean. I mean, Razor. We all know what we feel about Razor. Solid worker. The kid, great worker. But it was just a weird ending to their feud. But again, like you said, Razor was leaving, so I'm wondering if this was maybe like a punishment for Razor leaving. They put him in a crybaby match, but
Well, he wins
if
it.
that was
It would
yeah,
have been
exactly
punishment if he'd lost it. I mean, his punishment came
true.
later.
Oh yeah,
Although he Razor was. I heard him talk about it before that when he went out, it was a house show in Madison Square Garden. This is a famous curtain call. He goes out to Triple H and he loses.
yeah,
Uh, and he's actually it's worth going out your way just to find some of those interviews with Scott Hall because he actually talks like so passionately about wanting to go out on a high and get the fans really behind him and
yeah,
yeah, he didn't care about losing necessarily. And you
no,
do have to, on one hand, you have to admire that about Scott Hall.
yeah,
He didn't really care if he was winning or losing. He just wanted to get paid as
yeah,
much as he possibly could.
yeah, yes. It's all about the money for Razor and Diesel, to be
Yeah.
fair. So
I mean, it depends on your point of view and your outlook on life. That's either a good or a bad thing.
yeah, no, no, no. It's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, again, a lot of people,
But it is
again,
dependent on your point of view. It's arguable. You can say, oh well, if they're just in it for the money, it's not necessarily healthy for everybody.
yeah,
Um, and look, they had their politics and their problems in WCW.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
so there's that
yeah.
side of it, which I don't think you can ignore. Uh,
No,
but
no. Scott
I'm
went
not.
on to have a few
I'm
issues as
not
well.
criticizing him. I'm not going to
No,
criticize him. I just think he was class act. I think he was pretty
yeah,
special, and maybe if things had been different, um, maybe he could have been world champion sometime. Had a
I
run.
mean,
Don't know.
he was definitely a better worker than Kevin. But Kevin was 7 foot tall and Vince like big guys. So
He was, but
uh,
Razor was I can't remember his exact height. He wasn't 7 foot, but he was big himself.
Yeah,
He
no,
was in the.
I
I want to
totally
say he
agree
was
with that.
around. Was he like two? Was he about 280 odd pounds? Something.
Yeah,
He was over.
280.
He was over 6 foot.
Yeah, 6'5", 280, something like that, 6'4".
Yeah,
Um,
and he had a lot more in his locker in the ring.
yes, yeah,
And
yeah,
I think he had more style personally. I think that's what a lot of fans
definitely.
remember him for.
Yes, yeah.
And Sean
So
Warman, yeah, he's still so young here. He's still the 1, 2, 3 kid here.
yes, he's a heel now because he's joined the $1 Million Corporation because he turned heel on Razor. Well,
Yeah,
I want
right
to say
before
before the
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, yeah.
Yeah, right before. Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, he didn't really work as a heel in my opinion. In this era, he didn't really work as a heel. But hey, I guess they tried something new with him.
I mean,
But
I must. I thought he was no more successful as a heel than he was as a babyface because in '95 he lost virtually every
every
match.
match, yes,
Not well,
that's true.
virtually not
As a
all, but
baby face, yeah,
he
yeah,
just consistently lost. And I just thought, well, after the year he had in '94, I thought that they really should have pushed him on. He deserved to be pushed on, and they don't. They actively keep him down and marginalise him a little bit. And I think he struggles. So
yeah.
turning him heel, I think, was just to relaunch him, but it just doesn't really
Make a
go anywhere
difference.
still. Um,
No,
I don't think it hurt him. I think sometimes you can have a turn in it, and it can hurt. Like I think Tatanka turning heel
oh,
hurt
that was
him a lot.
terrible. Yes, yeah,
He was never the same again. Never had the impact when he was a heel, and he just fizzled out.
yes. Yeah, and the kid's only in the WWF till May, so and then he disappears. He ends up going to
Yeah,
WCW.
the last
So
match I can remember him having in WWF, it was on Raw. He had a match against Shawn Michaels when he was champion,
right,
and he has a pretty good match, and he loses. And yeah,
yeah,
I don't remember him after that. And it's another case of nothing's ever announced; he just disappears. And
yeah,
then I would say he showed up in the crowd in Nitro around August, September time, something like that. And he's
yeah,
again they're trying to be mysterious about him. Is he friend or foe? And then he goes off and he has his couple of years in WCW.
yeah, and then he gets fired and comes back to the WWF. So
Yeah, that was a mistake.
well, I mean, he does
For
okay in the.
WCW, that was a mistake.
Oh right, yeah, 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 yeah. But I think doesn't Bischoff fire him when he's injured or something? He's got a neck injury or something. Bischoff's like, but I think there are issues of like him being
There's
sober and
politics
that. But
involved. Yeah, well,
yeah,
there's that. And there's politics too, and he probably thought, oh well, if I'm going to set an example, I'll go for one of this kind of soft touch
yeah,
talent that you don't quite have enough clout to cause me a big problem.
yeah,
I think he
exactly.
probably underestimated the impact he would have going back.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. To be fair, I mean, Bischoff probably didn't see him as a big player, so um, a major name. But he came back and did DX stuff for a bit, which and then kind of fizzled out when the DX thing split up. But yeah, he was still a hell of a worker, and a lot of people were like, they would say if you can't have a good match with a kid, then you're not going to make it as a wrestler. So
I think
um,
that's testament to how good anybody is when people are booked to work with you to see
yeah,
how they'll do.
yeah,
It's testament to how good you are. I think Bret had that about him. Um, I think Razor had that going on. Sean had that going on. Um, Kid had that going on. They were seen as standard bearers in the ring.
yeah,
Definitely, they were good judges of if somebody had it or not.
definitely, yeah. So we'll move on to the next match, which was Hunter Hearst Helmsley against Duke Droze, Duke the Dumpster,
The
the
dumpster,
Drozy man. Yeah,
yeah, the trash man.
yes, yes. Who, for some
I
unknown
couldn't believe
reason,
the result.
well, I mean, Helmsley beats him. I
Yeah,
think
but
this
he got revenge, didn't he? Because he,
he
he
did
lost to
with the Royal
um,
Rumble free for all.
yeah, I know. Talk about
Um,
desperation for an angle.
Yes, it was a very strange, strange angle. But Helmsley is accompanied to the ring by Elizabeth Hilden, who, for some unknown reason, Jerry Lawler is just all over interviewing during the match. Duke Drosey's had a haircut because Helmsley shaved his head, I think. And Todd Pettingill was like hamming it up before the match starts about, Drosey's had a haircut, he wants his revenge and all this sort of stuff. It's not a bad match, but I mean, I've never rated Duke Drosey, so Helmsley does he like hit him with a trash can or something and gets the
Yeah,
pin or something?
there's a bit of that in this one as well. But I just think this is a cartoony gimmick type match, and Triple H is still fairly early on. He's been in WWF for
Few
about 8
months,
months at this
few
point,
months,
so
yeah.
he's still quite newish.
Yes.
I think he's probably up to this point done quite well because he's not lost much.
No.
So he's still he's a fairly
Building a
solid
name.
mid card heel actually.
Yeah.
At this point, without being in contention, particularly at this point, he's definitely building his stock
Yeah.
slowly and quietly at this point. Yeah, he picks up what I'd call a fairly routine win in this, and it's a match that no one really cared that much, because Duke Dumpster was by and large a jobber. He didn't really. You seldom saw him on the pay-per-views actually. When you think about it. Royal Rumble's probably a payday appearance for him, really, in terms of his year's earnings. He needs to build up a few bucks.
Yeah.
But he's on the free for all.
Yes.
I can't remember if he was actually in the Rumble match itself or not.
He was. He came out at number 30 because he beat. Because like Helmsley came out at the winner gets number 30, the loser gets number 1 in '96. So
that's
he
right.
gets eliminated.
That's right. Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, and then they have like a mini feud on Raw where Helmsley cuts his hair and like Drosey's like I think they're trying to make out like he's going to cut Helmsley's hair, or Vince says that during the match. And
that would have actually been really great.
Yeah,
because he still had that whole. He looked kind of like Vigo the Carpathia from Ghostbusters 2 at this time.
yes.
I would have loved to see him get all his hair cut off. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think Helmsley would have approved that. To be fair,
No, of course not.
I think
it would have been great.
Yeah, I think if Vince had said it like during a punishment for the old Madison Square Garden thing, then I would imagine Helmsley would have had to have done it. So,
well, I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure you'd get away with that even then.
No,
I'm not sure about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but I don't know, but it just feels a bit. I don't know. That's getting a bit physical, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I would have thought we could probably sue him for something like that. I don't know, but it's hard. I find it hard to imagine that would have been feasible, shall we say? But
yes,
it would have been funny.
It would have been.
It would have got more. It would have had a lot more impact than the outcome we got.
Yeah, it would have done, and
never mind.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Lawler was having a great time speaking to this lady who accompanied Helmsley. So he was being pretty much a pervert. He was being pretty much a pervert throughout the whole match. To be fair, and the camera caught him one time, just like giving her the side eye. I was like, oh my god. This wouldn't fly today, but back then everyone found it hilarious. Classic Jerry
but
Lawler.
it was just a show and an act.
Yeah.
So,
it wasn't real.
It's just exactly so. It was funny for all those reasons. It was
Yes. You can separate reality from real life, and
he did a lot worse. He did a lot worse than that. especially
Yes.
well, with Sonny, he was terrible.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. And Sable.
and it went on, yeah, exactly, and it went on and on through the years.
Yeah. And Deborah.
Yeah, oh God, I was still just about watching it when that was
Yes.
going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
even I remember that. That was funny.
Oh, dear. Yeah, he definitely did do worse than what he was doing tonight and that night. So, um, I think Sunny isn't Sunny on here with like because at the beginning of the going back because they were trying to be a bit more cutting edge, and then they have like Sunny on in a bikini on the beach saying like viewer discretion is advised or something. So they're trying to make it a bit more sexual in times of like you've got Sunny involved and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure there was a
Yeah, I
you know
don't think she's on the card
no,
with
but
this
just
one. I
before
don't
the
remember her
event
at all. But
starts.
yeah, she was doing stuff around that time. She's doing like, music videos. Um, yeah, definitely around that time. And
I
you're
think
right,
she's
that was
I
quite
think
a
she's
big
actually
change.
I think she's on the superstar line with Todd Pettingill actually because I think I remember her like doing an interview because they had on the free for all they had Jake Roberts against Tatanka, and I think they had like an interview with Jake, and she was like petrified of the massive python that Jake had. No, that's not like a double entendre or anything, but Jake had like a massive green python with her, and she was just like she was just freaking out because like Jake was teasing her with it. It does sound like a double
You
entendre,
make
but
a
it's
good
not.
point. Yeah, I mean, you're right to mention Jake actually because he is back and
Hmm.
it's completely out of the blue. Really, he comes back. He's at the Royal Rumble and the
Yeah,
Python is out
yeah,
in the ring and he clears the ring and it's great. I mean, some things live, especially, they just work and like he always just worked. I must admit, like
yeah.
he wasn't in great shape at this time. He was definitely long
No,
past it.
he
Um,
was.
and at a time when Vince is trying to, and he's literally at this time, week to week, he's doing the Huckster and the Nacho Man and the Ted Turner skits,
Oh
Billionaire
God, yeah.
Ted, and all that, which I loved at the time. I thought they were hilarious. I couldn't wait for the next week to see the next. It
Yeah.
was brilliant, and that was the effect apparently it had on everybody over there in WCW. Everyone just really enjoyed it because they were funny.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
so at the same time he's doing that, he's bringing back Jake
Jake.
Roberts. He's trying to
Yeah.
talk about well for the last couple of years, new generation, old generation, but he consistently contradicts himself with some of his
Yes.
decisions, Vince,
Yeah.
around this time.
Yeah. I mean, I think I heard Bruce talk about the '96 Rumble, and they were like, they reached out to Jake for a one-off appearance, and Jake was like, "Yeah, I'm doing better." Blah blah blah. I'll come in and do the Rumble, and I think from there, that's what like his long-term deal. Well, not long term, but because he was there through '96. But that's what sparked more appearances for Jake because they were impressed that he was sober. He was, you know, I know they
Yeah,
did this
he's
whole
back
the
for
whole
about a year, isn't he?
yes, yeah, yeah. So I think the last time you see him was after the Royal Rumble '97. So
Yeah, that's about my
um,
recollection too. I don't remember him after that.
no, so but yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, he does
You're
beat
right. You're right to
Tonka.
mention these things. Yeah, and some of the, if you like, the off-field stuff. Yeah, like as you say, it was getting more sexual, and Sunny
It was
um, around this time, especially. Yeah, she was really sort of on fire, and
yes,
yeah, kind of yeah. Well,
appealing
like
appealing to the young
the
boys of the era.
cheerleaders outfits and all this kind of stuff, and um,
Yes,
peep
yeah,
shows at the ring basically every time she's out there, which is what it was.
yes, yes.
You're right; it is definitely changing. It's getting edgier. It's not as
It's not
it's
as
not
family friendly.
sterile as it was in
No,
'95, which was it was very bland week to week. You had a few bright
yeah,
sparks in '95, and there are some of the best moments of the '90s are in '95. There's one or two anyway,
yeah, yeah.
um, but there's not many. And week
No,
to week, I'll agree. The product
Dale.
was a little bit tired and
Yeah,
in need of being reinvigorated. And I think Sonny was doing that. '96, it was getting edgier. Diesel's back to his old self to some extent, and he's a monster heel again. And it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, we've got Vader who's just invaded this federation as well
Yes.
around this time, and
Yeah.
yeah, you think
The-
actually, I remember at the start of '96 thinking that actually the roster was pretty damn solid at the
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and you had
Definitely.
plenty going on at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, the tag division I think was weak. I've said this before.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yes.
weak for several years, um, from probably '93 to '98 plus, from when I sort of stopped watching. I thought
Yeah.
that period it wasn't a particularly great tag division. They'd
No.
have the odd good team come and go, but not really enough to have great rivalries and memorable ones,
Yeah.
particularly. But
I want to say it picked up in like '99 after you stopped watching with like the Hardys and the
I'm sure it
Dudleys,
would have done.
Edge and
I'm sure it
Christian.
did. I'm
Yeah.
sure it did.
So yeah, it was quite a barren spell of tag teams from '93 to '98, '99. So yeah, I totally agree with you. There was a few good teams, but not many. They used to throw people together like the New Midnight Express in '98, and just random tag teams. I mean, I quite enjoyed the Headbangers in '97, but yeah, there weren't many great
I
ones.
honestly think about '86 to '90 is the best time for
Hmm.
tag team in WWF. I just think there were
Yes,
so many great teams that were
yeah,
worthy of the titles, and the division was so strong.
yeah, and teams that weren't even getting title shots, well, they were getting title shots, but they weren't getting the titles. So
Yeah, I mean, you think
it
like
was
Killer Bees, for example, were great.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, even Can-Am Connection were pretty decent too. I mean, there were plenty out
yeah,
there. There were good teams. Yeah, you had
yeah,
the Rougeau brothers,
yeah.
Fabulous Rougeaus, and there were just so many good teams.
Demolition, Tully
Yeah,
on,
yeah. LOD,
yeah, Heart
first time
Foundation,
over. Yeah, our
Nasty
foundation.
Boys, um,
Yeah, there's some pretty damn good teams.
Rockers. The Rockers were
Yeah,
great.
Rockers. You can't deny
Wow.
them.
So yeah, there were a lot of great teams. Yeah, again, I totally agree with you on that. So, I mean, '91. I would say '86 to '91. '91, it started to go a bit downhill towards the end of the year, but there were still good teams in '91, in my opinion.
Mm, yeah,
Um, but yeah, so we'll move on to the next match. Speaking of Vader, which was Yokozuna against the British Bulldog, and Yokozuna, who had been part of Camp Cornette for a long time, had been turned on in a Raw, I think. Um,
yes.
they started
Do you know,
beating him up with a tennis racket.
I don't know if you remember this, but I can remember in school, a bunch of us, one lunchtime, we were talking about Raw, and we all said, we all agreed,
Yeah,
I bet Yoko turns this week.
right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he does. And
yeah,
unfortunately, we'll talk about it a little bit more later. It's as strong as I said the roster was,
yeah,
everything was so incredibly predictable, I thought, at this time.
yes,
You
yeah,
just you knew how a lot of these matches were going to go. And,
yes,
it was just so obvious. They weren't very good at keeping you in suspense at this time. I think it was, they would make things so patently obvious. Yeah, Sean was always going to win that Royal Rumble. Nobody thought he wasn't going to win that Royal Rumble, and most people were saying he would go on to win the title. And gee whiz, was it a surprise? Yeah, it was never a surprise. You just know how yeah things get built up, and money spent on all these vignettes,
yeah,
and yeah, that's just how it was. It was very predictable.
yeah.
Um, it wasn't fresh at this time. It
No,
was still I still think it was good, and they were putting the right matches together. The booking was correct, but
yeah,
I think the way they built the matches was a little bit
predictable.
wrong in the sense that it was
Yeah,
just making things so obvious. I think they would have benefited from a little bit more uncertainty in some of these outcomes, actually.
yeah, yeah. I remember like I think is it Jim Cornette like shouting at Yokozuna, and Yokozuna just starts getting angry, and then he just turns, and then Owen and the Bulldog and I think I don't know
They
if Vader's
scarper.
ever. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a King Kong goes nuts sort of moment. Yeah, that's the way
Yeah.
they do the angle, and it works because it is quite good. Yeah, Yoko's massive at this point. He's bearded as well. He's too heavy to work properly in the ring anymore. He can't do it. He just can't do it. He's put on too much weight, and he's just
Yeah.
a shadow of the guy was 4 years earlier when he first come in. When he first come in, he was just a complete monster. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he won the
Yeah.
title,
He was.
you know, he gave you that impression of who's going to stop him. No one can.
No. No.
Look what he did to Hulk Hogan. Look what he did to Bret Hart. Look what he did to
Randy
Jim Duggan
Savage.
and
Not Jim
yeah,
Duggan
Savage.
to Tonka.
Everybody. And
Yeah.
Lex, you say what you want. Yeah, Lex Express didn't work out. So
No. No.
yeah, he was a credible champion for about a year.
He was.
But you know, after that was over, um,
I mean,
yeah, it's
they
a really
made him
sad
credible
decline.
with Owen. They made him a credible champion with Owen, I thought.
Yeah, but it's
Tag team
limited.
champions. But it
Yeah,
was
but that very
limited, but
very limited, very limited. I mean, you're right. I mean, at least they got that out of him. They had a future for him, but that's really consolidating
Yoko
the
was getting
losses.
heavier. He was getting heavier and heavier. So, but yeah, they have this match with the Bulldog. I mean, they actually before that they actually have Doc Hendricks interview Yoko, and everyone's shocked because Yoko's not Japanese and he's speaking Samoan. He's actually
Yeah, I know.
speaking. Um, but yeah, he comes out, has a fast start against the Bulldog, and he does actually beat the Bull. I mean, the Bulldog has a couple of moves, but Yoko's pretty much dominating the Bulldog throughout the
Yeah,
whole
he mows him
match.
down. He pretty much
He
mows him
does,
down, doesn't he? Yeah.
yeah. And Cornette's trying to distract him, and eventually, I think at one point, Cornette gets in the ring and starts hitting him with his tennis racket, and the ref just disqualifies him. And Yoko's about to hit Cornette, and Vader comes out, and they start beating Vader, him and the Bulldog. I think they
That
got like
tennis racket,
handcuffs.
which is
Yeah,
the more annoying one? The Jeff Jarrett guitar or the tennis racket? Which one's the most annoying?
the guitar, I'd say, because the tennis racket barely got used. It very rarely got used, but I
Made a
Jeff
big
Jarrett
whack sound though,
relied.
didn't it? It gave
It
him a good
did,
wallop.
it did, it did. But the guitar was used every week, whereas Cornette didn't always use the tennis racket. I think he just used it on Yoko once or twice. But yeah, this was when I don't think Fuji was with Yoko this time. It's not until WrestleMania 12 when he's in the corner of Yoko with an American flag waving instead of a Japanese flag waving. But
Yeah, none of that worked at all. It's not credible.
no,
Doesn't work.
no, no. But I
Doesn't work
mean,
at all.
Vader comes out and they've got some handcuffs and they handcuff Yoko to the ring, and all the old stooges come out to try and stop Vader, and Vader's pushing referees down, and
Yeah, he's a real
Cornette's
monster.
like,
I remember
he
Vader when he
is, he
came in.
was
He does a number on Gorilla Monsoon. He's still
president,
the interim
interim
president at
president.
that
Yeah,
time.
yes,
Even he's been doing it for about 6 or 7 months, and he's somehow still the interim. But yeah, he
yeah,
gets knocked out of action. I say knocked out of action. He's not wrestling anymore, but you know what I mean. He's
yeah,
out
yeah.
of the
They
mission.
take him
He's
out.
not
Yeah,
working and can't do his job because he's had his ribs crushed, and you know he's his life's in danger because he's been manhandled by Vader.
yeah,
But it all works out.
yes, yeah,
I remember when he came in, he had some good in-ring interviews, and I just thought, wow, he's really announced himself well, Vader. I remember thinking, so Bret's still the champion at this point. I can remember thinking, well, yeah, he's going to be a real threat to Bret Hart as champion. This guy,
yeah,
have to watch out
yes.
for him. Um,
And he would
but
have been
yeah,
if Sean
he would
hadn't
have.
had his hissy fit at SummerSlam '96. Because again, the bit where Sid wins the title at Survivor Series was originally meant for Vader to do it, but because Sean had his hissy fit, he wouldn't work with him again. It was just like Christ. Oh dear. But yeah,
It's easy to say that definitely would have happened, but with Vince, he could have taken a look at Sid and thought, yeah, but he's so good on the mic. He might
he
have ran with
was.
him anyway. You never
That's,
know. Plans get changed so much. Sean might have just said, well, even if it hadn't been as awkward at SummerSlam, he might have just screwed him over anyway.
True, true. I mean, to be
Where
fair,
he
I
was
mean,
back then.
Survivor Series '96 was Sid's big moment. I mean, that New York crowd wanted Sid to win. So I
Yeah,
just remember
big
the
big
aura he
time,
had when he came
big
out.
time.
When he came out, and the fans were going nuts at Sid. And I know the girls were screaming for Sean, but the guys were just like
It's
they
true.
want,
It
yeah,
is true. Literally, if you
they
watch
just
that
wanted
match
Sid to
over
win.
on the 2 count right before 3, you can hear all
Yes,
these high pitched squeals from
yeah,
it goes, no.
yeah, yeah. And they're like massive air, just like being sucked out of the room when Sid wins the title. But yeah,
Most of the crowd loved it, and
yes,
they
yeah,
they booed the shit out of Shawn Michaels that night, didn't they?
yes, they did. Yes, they did. And Sean played to them. To be fair, he did
I
play.
think
He
he
did play
had
up to.
to. I think
Yeah,
in that situation, that's what he would expect himself to do. It would be stupid not to.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just
No,
because you'd
exactly.
lose, you'd just lose the whole crowd, and they just wouldn't be into the match, and they wouldn't believe it anymore. If he
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
play to that to some extent. Not saying
yeah,
be worked by the crowd, because it should be the wrestlers that work the crowd, but you can't ignore
yeah.
the
You can't ignore
psychology
what the
of how you approach the match in the ring.
no,
Definitely can't
no,
avoid it.
no. So well, Yoko gets beaten up, and he makes a few comebacks, but in the end, Vader and that beat him down, and we move on to the next match, which was the match that Shawn Michaels against Owen Hart, and I think on Raw, Jim Cornette and Owen had challenged Michaels to, have a match for the title, for being the number one contender. I know Michaels had won the Rumble, but I can't remember. I don't know if you remember more than me, but how Jim Cornette and Owen Hart managed to convince Michaels to put the number
So
one
it was,
contendership in.
so it was unfinished business from a
The year
creative
before.
standpoint. So Owen had to be the one to supposedly knock him out of action in the
Yes.
match on Raw. Although actually Sean's in control of the match when he passes out kayfabe.
Yes. I remember
Uh,
that. Yeah. Yeah.
so
That was in
it's not
'95.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes a few hard kicks from Owen, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's never been really paid off,
No.
any of that. So this is largely
The
to
payoff.
conclude that angle. And
Yeah.
yeah, because he's got a title shot, I would say, well, if you want a piece of me, you put that
Yeah.
title shot on the line, which is a good thing to do because it puts some jeopardy in there as a match.
Definitely.
Otherwise, it's a throwaway, not throwaway match, but it's just a match that is there
Doesn't
to
mean anything. Yeah.
get you from here to there, from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. It doesn't really mean that much otherwise. At least there's
True.
something at stake without having a title on.
Yes. Yeah. And Sean swings down from a jungle rope at the top of the set.
Yeah,
If I remember correctly.
yeah. I thought it was
Um,
more like Tarzan.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those ropes you had when you're at PE. You just kind of swinging on it,
Yeah,
but
it's just
yeah,
on a little bungee, isn't it? It's not
yeah.
like the big one he does at WrestleMania, but
No, no, nothing like that at all.
the epic one.
They're trying to
You know
show him as
what?
a
In all
daredevil.
seriousness, I will say I really hope no one ever does that again in wrestling. It should be banned for all time.
Oh, from yeah, yeah, yeah.
After what happened to Owen, I just think it should never ever be done because I think it's in bad taste and it's
I think Sting's
yeah.
done it, but he was doing it in '97, so but I don't think he's done it since then. But yeah, no, I know what you
Well,
mean.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's stupid anyway. Um, it's
It
not
is.
necessary. It's not necessary. And I just think it's if I was to see that now, I would just think, shit, do they never learn? You can't fail to remember what happened to Owen. Really.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I just hope no one ever does it again. I think it should be banned forevermore.
yeah.
Stupid stunts.
I think it has happened since, but I can't remember the exact person or people who had done it. So, but yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It's
It's
you
just my
know,
personal view.
No, I get that. I
Just a
completely
personal
get that.
opinion. It offers yeah, it's a cheap thrill, really. I mean, I guess it's cool to see someone do that, I guess, but
Yeah,
it's really just, I mean, to me, it's just a circus trick,
yeah,
really. I don't expect any of them to do it. That why should they put their lives on the line like that?
exactly.
It's not necessary, and we've seen what can happen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this match is a pretty decent match to be fair. It's a 16-minute match. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
always would be.
Owen Hart dominates the match. To be fair, um, I think Michaels gets like the early upper hand, and then Owen hits the insecurity, and Michaels goes down, and from then on,
Yeah,
Owen's
which
in
was always going to
control.
happen. They were always going to do
Yes,
that, weren't they?
yes, yeah.
Do you remember Doctor James?
James
Doctor
Andrews,
Unger or James Andrews? Yeah, Andrews.
one of the two.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he's. I can remember he was on Raw periodically giving updates on Shawn Michaels' condition, and
Yes, yeah,
up into the Royal Rumble, it's basically like, oh, his career's pretty much
oh,
over.
yeah. He
And then
should never
literally
wrestle again.
On the night of the Rumble, he's just like, no, he's in tip top shape, and I'm going to be here just to
Yeah.
make sure everything's okay. I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, okay,
Okay, yeah,
all
yeah.
right then,
The German doctor, yeah. Random.
all right,
Yes, Dr. James Andrews always worked on people's knee injuries. So yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh dear. Yeah, it was a strange one. But yeah, Michaels pretty much gets beaten up, and Vince is like playing the sympathetic like commentator, and he's like, oh,
yeah.
you
You
know,
better get used to that if you're watching anything from '96. You better get used to that.
yes, yes, yeah. But in the end, Michaels does come back and win the match, and
Yeah.
he's going to WrestleMania to
Well,
face
let's
the
face it, he
champion.
could do no wrong. He could do no wrong.
No,
I can remember thinking, not for a second is Owen Hart going to win this match. No way in hell.
really, really, wow.
Yeah, no way in
Well,
hell. It was to me. It's like, of course, Shawn Michaels is going to win this. Like, it was
it was set
so
up that way.
incredibly obvious that that was going to happen. It
Yeah,
was the momentum week to week was just unstoppable. Yeah, and Vince was building the whole thing up like it was Christmas Day, WrestleMania, the whole thing. Like he was like a 6-year-old building Shawn Michaels up on. It's like, oh, it's Christmas Eve. Oh my God, the excitement.
well, he does that for. If you remember the WrestleMania 12 match, he kind of like builds Michaels up. Yeah, he gives Bret his props, but he's always like more pro Michaels than pro Bret at the Iron Man match. To be fair, that's the way I remember it. But yeah, they
Yeah,
do Bret a bit
I
nasty
think
on
he
that.
was. I think he
Yeah,
was. I mean, at the same time, if anything, ironically, I thought Jerry Lawler was more complimentary to Bret as a heel
exactly.
commentator
That's what it
at
makes no
WrestleMania
sense,
12.
does it? Yeah,
No,
that's what I
no,
mean.
it's
But
crazy.
you would think Vince would be more. He's the champion for God's sake. You got to give your
Well, I
champion
think
more
Vince
props
is.
than the.
Well, let's face it. Let's talk about what's really going on here in terms of the political side of it. So Bret's won the title of Survivor Series only
Yeah.
to give it to Shawn at WrestleMania. That's
Yes.
We know that was always the intention. So
Yeah.
um, the reason that Bret is not over as much is because, well, let me put it another way. The reason he's not being pushed as a strong champion is because Vince doesn't want him to be over.
Yes.
He wants to put all
He
his
wants
eggs
Michaels.
again. He wants to put all his eggs in one basket and rely on Shawn to carry the company for the next 125 years. Um,
Yes.
and it's another Vince gamble.
Yeah.
Um, and it does make you think. Actually, if you think really carefully over all of Shawn's runs, yeah, it does make me wonder sometimes how much did Vince really have faith in Shawn to carry that banner and make all that money? Because he actually doesn't treat Shawn brilliantly either at times.
No.
Let's face it.
No.
We've
He
seen
does
this
have some
before. He
weird
did it with Diesel. He
opponents.
did it with Bret. He did it with Shawn. Just to
Yeah.
probably not to quite the same extent, but he's not. He's actually not the golden goose either. I think
No.
the golden goose was Steve Austin and The Rock.
It was.
I,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know you'll say it's not really my era, but I'm familiar enough with Stone Cold to have enough knowledge and opinion that I know that it's those two that made WWF the
Stone,
global monster that it is now,
Stone, yeah,
or
Stone
WWE, I
Cold's,
should say.
yeah, Stone Cold's the one who changed the trajectory of WWE, WWF at the time, when The Rock helped build that up as well. But yeah, Stone Cold was the one that Vince was like, okay, I've got my next Hogan here.
Yeah, in terms of
Obviously,
money and
yeah,
success,
yeah,
it's those two. It's not Bret, it's not Taker, it's not Shawn, really, in terms of making it a
no,
juggernaut, because they don't grow the company
no,
financially.
absolutely not. No.
That being said, all of those guys I just mentioned are probably three of the greatest workers of all time,
Yes, yeah,
if
yeah,
not the greatest.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Those
So there's
three
the
are in
art
the
and craft of wrestling versus the commercial side of it, and they
yeah,
are actually, I think most of the time they're different things. Like
yeah.
if you're really honest, would you say Rock or Hogan, Hulk Hogan and Austin, like, were they the greatest wrestlers of all time? I don't think they were, personally. Um,
Austin was, but then obviously the injury set him
well,
back, and he had to revert to a brawler style. But yeah, I know what you
I
mean.
mean,
Yeah, I know what
yeah,
you're saying.
it
The
gets
Rock was a good.
complicated, doesn't it?
The Rock was a better wrestler than Hogan
They're
was, in
good.
my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, absolutely. They're all really, really good. Um, but they're not
Hogan was the
necessarily
man who
the
put
greatest of
wrestling
all
on the
time in
map.
terms of in ring,
No, 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 no.
like wrestlers, like technical
They're not
wrestling.
technical. No, no, no. They're not Bret
Um,
Harts. They're not
they
Ric
aren't.
Flairs. They're not Shawn Michaels. So
Yeah, but they were masters, and that's why they were the best.
yes, yeah, they sold more merch. They made people. They drew eyeballs to the product. So and they
Undeniable.
made
Yeah,
yeah.
undeniable. That.
So
But
so
Sean's
yeah,
Sean's getting his pusher. This is his time. He is definitely on the upward trajectory. He's going to get this big push.
yeah,
Um, yeah, whether you liked it or not, it was coming. You could see it. You could definitely
yes,
see it coming, and nothing was going to change that. And yeah,
yeah.
Vince couldn't contain himself. How excited he was! He really couldn't contain himself. He was like,
No.
"Oh God!" He might as well have just said, "Oh, oh, I know what all of you are going to get for Christmas. I know what's under your Christmas tree. I know, and you don't, but I know." John's going to be the next champion.
Yes, yeah, but again, even then, the Iron Man match was like, why did they have Shawn win it in overtime? It's like, why didn't he just win it at the end of the Iron
Story
Man
for
match?
another
But
day. Story for another day. That one, but
yes, so Shawn wins this match. He's the number one contender at WrestleMania, and the main event is the steel cage match between the champion Bret Hart and Diesel.
let's
Um,
look at that just real quick before the match even starts. You're thinking, okay, so Sean's going to definitely face whoever the champion is at WrestleMania.
yeah,
You look at that objectively, and you think, are we really going to get a rematch here from last year? It's hard to imagine, but maybe
you
the
can
rematch does happen, but not at WrestleMania. It happens in your house. Beware of dog.
in your house
Uh,
seven. It
oh,
happens.
good. Sorry,
Better
good friends,
friends,
better enemies. Seven. Yeah, sorry.
which is a hell of a
Uh,
rematch. To be fair, I love
would
that
you
match.
would you have
It's a
said
great match.
would you have said like if they put the belt back on Kevin Nash, Diesel,
Mm-hmm.
and they had locked horns at WrestleMania, and Diesel had put Shawn over at WrestleMania, would that have been a better outcome? Would it have been a better match? Because it
I
still
mean,
gets you to where it ends up
they wouldn't
in
have
the
done an
following
Iron Man
month.
match. Yeah, they
No,
wouldn't
of
have done
course,
an
no,
Iron
no, of
Man
course not,
match.
of course not. Um, but would it
I
have
mean,
worked? Just hypothetical.
if they had done the match that they had done it, good friends, better enemies, then I think it would have worked. Because I mean, that match was great. I mean, that match was far better than WrestleMania 11. How they put that together was a hell of a great physical match. So I think if they had done that match at WrestleMania 12, it would have worked. Yes, yeah,
Wouldn't it?
without doubt.
Okay. Should they have done it then?
Don't know. I mean, possibly, but they could have done. They could have done, but then what would Bret have done at WrestleMania 12?
Exactly.
So
He probably would have had to face Taker because they would have done some angle where Taker got involved and screwed him in the
Good
cage
point.
match or something, and then Taker
But
would have beat Bret clean, and then Bret would have gone off for 6 months. And
the Taker Diesel match was good. So
exactly, no, we got the right result. I think
yeah, yeah.
we did get the
So I
right
mean,
result, but it's interesting to think about what might have been because that's what would have happened. That was at stake.
yeah,
It was all about which way these matches
we're gonna
turned
go.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I mean, I don't remember too much about this match other than the finish of the match. I remember. I mean, was it a match where Diesel
the cage
dominated? I
match.
can't.
You're talking about the cage match
Yeah,
now. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah,
into the cage match. I mean, um, yeah, I remember it quite well. Um, they used the cage really well as a
yeah.
prop without making it a bloodbath, but it's a different kind of match that Bret has here than he did with Owen a couple of years earlier. Um,
Yes, yeah,
leading up to this match, so he so he wins the title at Survivor Series. He has a great match with Bulldog in your house, and he actually looks a good champion at that point.
yes,
Um, but
yeah,
Royal Rumble, literally out of nowhere, Undertaker just scoops him up randomly in the middle of a match, um,
yeah,
and does his finish.
yeah,
And Diesel interferes and
yeah,
saves Bret from certain defeat. So all of a sudden,
yeah.
Bret's looking
Not so good.
pretty
Not so
undeserving,
strong.
actually. Paper
Yeah,
champion at this point, and
yeah,
leading up to this match, Diesel's putting together some really heelish promos that he's talking about like how weak Bret is as a champion and how he's a predator stalking his prey, and there's some really
yeah,
good promos he does leading up to this, and I just thought, well, shit. Um, the thing is, it all looks true.
yes,
That's exactly how it
yes,
looked to me. Like, yeah, Bret just looked completely incapable
yeah,
around this time in the ring with the finishes. He looked so spineless and weak as a champion here. He really
yes,
did. I felt bad for him at the time. I thought this is so shit.
yeah,
And I will say this: I've heard Jim Ross talk about this um, in the past, and I've got nothing but time and respect for JR. I just don't agree with him because he felt that the finish to this match and the Rumble match didn't make Bret look weak,
oh,
particularly.
really. Uh,
And I just don't think that's a credible statement when you watch the outcome of both matches. How can you not go into that WrestleMania match with a champion that's you should have
strong.
lost it twice at this point, so he doesn't really
Yeah,
deserve to be there because he
no,
looks like a weak champion that can't hold his own in the ring
yeah,
when it really matters. Going up against Shawn Michaels, who's running up and down steps, training like Rocky for even
yes,
Drago. And
yeah.
it's like,
And Brett's running on.
Christ, like who's going to win this one, guys? It just
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
so predictable. I love
yeah,
JR because you can't not love a JR for everything he's done.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't agree with him on that. I think Brad looked
Weak.
very, very weak as a
Yeah,
champion.
yeah.
Not at WrestleMania, by the way. I think he looked great at WrestleMania.
He did.
Um,
He did.
yeah, when he actually lost it, he was unlucky in the sense that he could have easily won it
He could have
at the
done.
end.
Yeah, yeah,
Again, another day that one, but yeah, he didn't look good going into this match, and the finish doesn't help him. But as a match, it's extremely physical, and Diesel
yeah,
by and large bosses it. There's a bit quite early in the match where he's just kicking the ever loving shit out of Bret in the corner. He's going backed up against the turnbuckle. He sort of
yeah.
grabs his hair and it goes right up into his face, and he's screaming at him like it's going to be a long night.
Yes, I remember that bit. Yeah,
And I just started thinking, oh well, that's really kind of very aggressive and
yeah,
yeah, nasty. This is kind of it had an edge and a bitterness to this match, And
yes, yeah,
oh god, there's one spot and so dangerous where I think Bret's about to climb up. He's standing on the top rope, about to go over the cage, and Diesel gets up and he basically uppercuts him where it hurts. And he
oh right,
falls,
okay,
and he falls.
yes,
Yeah, Bret falls onto the top rope, dead
yeah.
weight,
Oh God,
and then bounces back into the ring, and everybody's just like, "Oh God!"
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
He
Oh
nearly gets the
Jesus.
sharpshooter on him at one point as well. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, Diesel just kind of rakes his wrecks his face to break it.
Yeah,
But he's
yeah,
almost in the sharpshooter. But yeah, by and large, um, Diesel does boss this. He kind of manhandles and bullies Bret for most of the match. It's not all his own way, but by and large, yeah,
yeah,
it goes his way. And yeah, the finish is an unexpected one. It's strange, but as I said, it was supposed to be that Kevin Nash was to powerbomb Bret and look
yeah.
like he's blatantly going to win, and then Undertaker um,
Comes out of the
busts a
ring.
hole into the
Yes.
ring canvas and grabs his leg and drags him down beneath the ring, and dry ice comes out of
Yes.
the
Yeah.
hole like it's something out of Nightmare on Elm Street. And
Yes.
I mean, it nearly happens. It's just they're just kind of fighting on the ring apron,
Yeah.
and yeah, Bret's just kind of kicked away, and it looks like to me it still looked like Diesel was about to win it anyway,
Yes. Yeah.
regardless of whether he was power bombed or not, jackknifed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the Undertaker grabs Diesel's leg, doesn't he, and pulls him down.
Yeah, and that's enough time. I mean, Bret gets up fairly quick, and then instead of walking out the door, decides to do it the hard way.
Yeah. Climbs
Climbs
over
up
the
the top of
cage.
the cage and then down again.
Yeah.
And he's already walking back down the aisle before
Diesel
Diesel
gets out.
climbs out of the
Yeah.
hole again. And it's a cool finish because it's not one you expect.
No. The
And
Undertaker comes out afterwards.
I liked it when Diesel gets the hell out of her, and one of his trouser legs is ripped,
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
and maybe Nails was under the ring. I don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, Taker comes out
Then,
after him not long after, and he climbs up to the top of the cage, and he kind of hoists his arms up high, and then the lights dim, and he
yeah.
looks like the Grim Reaper who's coming for him. It's almost like something out of The Crow.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Diesel's not exactly Papa Shango here or
No.
Kamala,
No.
but
No.
he's weirded out by it clearly, but he's not quite shit in his pants or anything. But
No. But
it was
they do have
a good finish. It was an interesting finish. Although again, it spoiled for me. It spoils the contest.
Yeah.
It's the match that's marred by bullshit, same as it
Yes.
was at
Yeah.
the Rumble. And as I said,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it made Bret look like a very, very weak champion
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I totally agree with that.
It's almost
I
like
mean,
he's a heel champion because that's what heels do. Heels need help
yes.
to win matches and survive and keep the belt, no matter how cheap
Yeah.
it is. But that's what's happening. So
Yeah.
again, you go into WrestleMania, you want it to be like Hogan and Warrior was, like who's going to win? It's like they're both equally matched, and like who knows what's going to happen. That's what you
Yeah.
wanted, but you go into it with a big imbalance
Yeah.
because Bret just doesn't look like he can beat anybody
No.
at this
No.
point.
No. And then
So
they
it's,
have like
it's
this.
no surprise. There's no surprise, and and Vince is literally like he desperately wants to tell you what you're about to get for Christmas. He's like, I wrapped the present myself. I know. I really want to tell you, but I'm not going to. You're going to have to wait.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the whole. I mean, the build up between the Undertaker and Diesel at WrestleMania 12 is pretty good, but then like the build up between Shawn and Diesel was Shawn and Bret, sorry, at WrestleMania 12 is like, yeah, they have obviously Rowdy Piper is becomes the interim president for a while, and they have like this famous promo battle on Raw and talk about stuff and shake each other's hand at the end of it. And that's when they announce it's going to be an Iron Man match or whatever. And but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's you can tell like from the training montages they do of Shawn and Bret, you can tell that they're putting all their money on Shawn with how he's like training as
The
opposed to
one thing that
Bret's
Roddy
swimming.
Piper said that I think was quite true. He
Yeah.
literally says you might as well shake each other's hands now because you're going to hate each other after this. I mean, literally, truer words were never spoken. I mean, I don't think
Yes.
anyone quite realised it would be as bad as it was, but
No, I think he may have said that
it's
tongue
what
in
happened.
cheek, and it did. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
he did, but it's ironic that
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah. The irony was it
work
actually
out that
happened.
way, and it really did, and then some.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, again, the whole thing was apparently was that Bret was going to do the thing for Bret. Sorry, Sean was going to do the honors for Bret at WrestleMania 13, and then he lost his smile and he didn't want to do it. And it's like, okay, well, that's random, but
Well, a lot had happened between then and now, but yeah, at this point, I don't think they'd properly despised each other at this point. It was
no, there was still
not for another several
from
months.
no, from what Bret said, there were still relatively good friends behind the scenes up until WrestleMania. And I think Bret was like, even after the match at WrestleMania, he was like, I'm gonna be really pissed off, and I'm gonna play to the angle, but don't take it personally, Sean. I'm gonna play to the angle, but certain things were said in the ring when
We
Sean,
told him to get the fuck out of his ring,
yeah, yeah,
didn't we? So
exactly, exactly.
I don't think he was expecting that.
No,
And
no,
obviously, no one would have known that because
no,
it wasn't picked up. You couldn't hear
no,
it.
no,
He does mutter
no.
something. You can
He
see
says
when he's
something
down
to
on
him,
his knees, but you can't decipher it.
yeah, and that's when Bret gets out of the ring pretty quick, and like someone throws a Canadian flag at him, and he chucks it onto the other side of the audience. But yeah, I think he's quite pissed off at that point. So,
Yeah, I do remember that, but I think he was just trying to get out of the way and move on. He
yeah, yeah,
wasn't. Yeah, he just wanted to get out of there, didn't he?
yeah, yeah,
It was a bit unusual though, because normally you would see some moping around and then a handshake and possibly a hug or whatever, and you know
yeah,
that would have been customary at the time.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's not like Brett refuses to shake his hand or anything. He just literally watches Sean on his knees with the belt, and he
yeah,
just leaves. He just leaves. That's all it is.
yeah,
Um, I mean,
yeah,
literally, yeah. Sean's pretty preoccupied anyway. At the
yes,
point
yeah,
he
yeah,
gets out of the ring. Um,
yeah. I mean,
but
he
yeah,
does go to
with
Bret's family as well at the end of the
yeah, he
match, like
does.
his
Yeah, yeah.
son's in the
Stu
crowd and
Hart's there and Blade's there. That's right.
Helen's there, yeah. So I know his parents are there as well, but it's like he does like I don't know if he thanks his family, but he does go up to them and speak to them after the match. So it's just weird why he would have told Bret to get the fuck out of the ring and then be nice to his family. It's like that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, it is what it is, I guess. But
Yeah, I
we
mean,
can
it's
talk
very
about WrestleMania
difficult
as well.
to know what the truth is with some of
Yeah,
these things because at
yeah,
the end of the day, massive egos were involved on both sides, and it's difficult to know
definitely.
fact from fiction sometimes. I think,
Yes,
yeah, time distorts as well a little bit, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad that all that bullshit is 30 years ago.
behind. Yes, yeah. At the
Because I
time, we
mean,
were
it
living it.
dragged. It dragged for so many years.
It
Probably
did.
not until I would say 2010 when they finally did bring Bret Hart back.
Yes.
There was some closure to it
Yeah, they had that.
because
They had that.
it just never ended.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't even know if Brett is fully because I mean, you see a lot of his interviews today, and he
He's
still
quite
says a lot of
erratic at the
stuff.
moment with
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
What
He seems
his
to be wanting
comments
to
are.
pick fights a lot lately.
Yes,
I
yeah,
wish he wouldn't have so much. I mean, I'm to be honest, there's a lot that he has said of late that um, I do have a fair amount of sympathy with.
yeah,
But there's
yeah.
some things that I really don't think were right
He
to
should.
say, and he
Yeah,
should have just left alone. Like, I would have the whole thing about you mentioned Stephanie McMahon quite a bit. I don't see why that was necessary at all. And
no.
yeah, why bother? It's not like he's building like he wants to get Triple H in the ring.
Well,
Um,
neither of them can fight. I mean, Triple
exactly.
H has got a
So
heart
why do
condition
it?
that
Why do
exactly
all this
it
shit?
makes no sense.
I
But
sometimes wonder with Brett because he's doing these tours here, there, and everywhere, and
yeah,
you and I have met him,
yes, yeah,
it's 4 or 5 years ago now, but um,
yeah,
I get the impression sometimes when you see him on these dimly lit stages with some fairly young host, and he's got a
yeah,
pint next to him on a little table, and
yeah,
he's in a smallish venue. You just get the impression sometimes like he maybe in his own mind he thinks, well, these people have paid, I don't know, $100 to see me or whatever. Um,
yeah.
just
Let's
talk
give him
for
a
an hour. So
show.
maybe I should try and
Give him a
you
show.
know throw
Spice
a little
things up.
bit out there and
Yeah,
just spice it up a bit, just for the sake of people paying to see me here and now in this venue. I do wonder
yeah,
sometimes if he gets into things a bit unnecessarily sometimes, but there you go.
yeah, yeah. Oh well.
And I've got a lot of there's a lot of hell of a lot of stuff he has said that I have to say I agree with, or I have sympathy with. Um,
Yeah,
but I think some of it's been a bit unnecessary, and he doesn't need to say these things
no.
anymore. It's all out there. We know he doesn't like Triple H, and he's got a checkered
Doesn't
past
like
with Vince
Goldberg.
McMahon. And no,
Yeah,
we know all these things,
yeah.
but for his own sake, I mean, he doesn't
Doesn't need to keep
just
bringing him
doesn't
up.
need to wrestle anymore with these things.
No,
He's
he just needs to let stuff go after a while. I think
oh,
just needs to
well, I
let
mean,
it
he's,
go a
he's
bit.
never going to forget. Look, he won't ever forget. I
No, no, I'm
appreciate
not
that.
saying he
But
should forget, but I just say just to, let it go.
it shouldn't.
But
It shouldn't bother him. I shouldn't bother him so much to the point where you know it just. I mean, he'll say he's not a bitter man and it doesn't consume his life. But I think when you
there are
spend
certain
time and
things it
energy on
does.
these things, I think it does take a little bit out of you. It's not a good thing anymore
No,
because ultimately it can never be resolved. If you like,
no,
he can't get Shawn Michaels back in the ring and in Montreal and
he
beat
can't
him in the
get Goldberg
sharpshooter,
back
and
in
he
there.
can't no, and yeah, exactly. I mean, he could try and kick Goldberg's head,
Yeah,
but again, is anybody better off? Really, no.
not really. No, and I know, and I'm not defending Goldberg, but I don't think Goldberg actually meant to, kick him and give him a concussion.
No, I don't think anyone
He didn't
really believes
intend
that.
to do that. So
No, I mean, I blame WCW for the way they ran their company and you know
yeah,
pushing that guy so far when he was clearly just not trained and skilled enough to do some of these moves. He was hurting other guys too. I mean, he wasn't guided properly. He wasn't trained. I don't think he had the
no,
years in the business that he needed.
no,
But he was a sensation at the time. He was pushed. He
yeah,
was next big thing, which they screwed even that up.
yeah,
WCW
yeah.
screwed
Sadly,
everything up.
they did.
You just
They
think,
did.
so Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. So we didn't know any of this at the time, but it's literally now
Yeah,
they're in the process of being on the way out at this
yeah,
point. So they had to give 90 days notice
yeah.
to leave.
In your house 7 is their last pay per view on
Yeah,
screen, and then obviously
and
their
all
whole
all of this timing adds up as well. So we're in February. They're gone in
yeah,
May. 90 days notice. All of it adds up. So it is
yeah,
around about this time. So behind the scenes, we don't know it. That's what's going on.
yeah. We have no idea. I mean, I remember watching In Your House 7 and seeing Diesel and Razor both lose and think, oh, okay, well, they're obviously on a bit of a losing streak. I had no idea they were going to WCW. It wasn't until you told me that Scott Hall had appeared on Nitro, and I was like, what? And
I
then,
honestly remember thinking at the time because coincidentally, so Bret goes on his hiatus as well. I just
yeah,
thought that was a triple hammer blow
yes,
to Vince McMahon
yeah,
because he had, I would say, his top five guys at this time is Diesel, Razor, Undertaker, Shawn, Bret,
yeah,
and three of those five are gone. And
yes,
yeah, within a couple of months of this pay per view, and it has an enormous impact on
it does.
WWF in '96. I mean, it was grim.
Yes,
It was really
yes,
grim programming. My God, I thought they had a decent roster at the start of the year, but after WrestleMania, wow, that changed completely.
it did. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and they weren't really pushing Steve Austin at the time, who was on the main, well, not well, I say he was on the main event. He was on the card, but he wasn't being. I think he had changed his name to the Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 12, but it wasn't
Yeah,
the
he was
Austin
he
at
was
the
just
time.
a little bit. I think he wasn't horrendous, but he was just floundering. I think Bruce Bush had said that
Yes,
once about him. He was just kind of floundering, and I think that's a pretty good way to
yeah,
describe what was going on with Steve at this time in '96. But I think I started noticing Steve when he challenges out completely out of nowhere. He challenges Bret to come
yeah,
back, which is not long after SummerSlam, probably early September
yeah,
'96. He challenged, and he just literally goes on a crazy rampage at that point,
yes,
and
yeah,
and it completely changed. That's to me, that's when they started turning the corner WWF, because they went in a very different direction. It was yeah, it was in response to the kind of spontaneous aspect of what Nitro was doing and the
yeah,
unpredictability. Yeah, what Austin started to do was great. It was very edgy,
yes,
but up until that point, yeah, that they had a long, lean spell from probably when Diesel and Razor
Razor,
Lee and
yes,
Bret's gone home. Yeah, that's a pretty rough 6 months, actually. I think they struggled as much as I ever saw them struggle, actually. More so than '95, because at least they had their guys in '95.
it did,
They had those top guys still to rely on.
yeah,
They still
yeah,
had that guy, I think, as a company. They still had some top talent, and yeah, they lost a lot of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I kind of think with '96, it kind of started changing when Austin won King of the Ring, and then he did that great speech after winning King of the Ring, and that's when they started pushing Austin a bit more, Austin 316 and all that sort of stuff. And it
You
wasn't
say that about that
until
speech. I remember watching it live. It
yeah,
was good, but I still don't think he takes off straight away. He's just feuding with Mark Merrow for the rest of the
true,
summer.
true. But I
So
mean, the
it's a
fans take
delayed
to it a lot more.
launch,
It is a delayed launch, yeah, yeah, I get that. But they
but
start
it's
selling
the moment you
316
look back on.
t-shirts.
You have to look
Yeah,
back on it because you can't avoid it, and it was really great. He's very disrespectful of Jake Roberts, who he just leaves laying and just
yes,
demolishes him, rightfully so,
yeah,
probably. Um, but yeah, it just took a long time, didn't it?
it
It
did,
was
it did.
they had to go backwards to go forwards in
Yeah,
'96, because
and this is why,
WrestleMania, you think about it, at the end of WrestleMania, thinking, wow, they're on a massive high here, WWF,
yeah, yeah,
or it
yeah,
felt like it, but actually, almost immediately, it just kind of falls apart
yeah, it
with all the
does.
departures and yeah, the impact it has, and like, wow, okay, it's not the same
Yeah,
place anymore.
and this is why WCW's momentum picked up because these guys had jumped over to WCW, and then the whole NWO angle kicked off
Yeah,
after Bash
massive.
of the Beach, and everything was like, wow, what's going on? I still remember the videos you would take Nitro and just like seeing at the end of the show where the NWO would come out and beat the crap out of the guys in the main event and
Yeah, spray paint the
spray
back
paint
and
them.
all
Yeah,
that. It was just infamous, wasn't it? And there's so
yeah,
many to talk about.
absolutely,
We'd never
absolutely.
seen it. We'd never seen anything
No,
like it. It wasn't the
no,
product that we'd ever
grown
seen
up with.
before.
Yeah, yeah. This was
It,
just something
it was
completely
like
new and
Jerry
different.
Springer almost in
Yeah,
wrestling. It was just like so
yeah,
shocking. Like you've seen it for the first time, and then after a few years, it's like, okay, you expect the
yeah.
outrageous, and it doesn't shock you anymore, because that's kind of the limitation
You're
of it.
used
There's
to
only
it.
so much you
Yeah,
can do to shock before it becomes normal, which is
yeah,
what happened.
yeah, yeah. But there was a good few months where it was like every week was shocking. Every week was something new, something different. So,
And I think
um,
they used all of the wrestlers that they had very well at
yeah,
that time.
yes, yeah. I mean, I still remember that bit where they were in the Disney studios and the NWO had like lawn darted Rey Mysterio into the goddamn trailer, and they were just beating everybody up, and it was just like it was crazy.
Yeah, apparently there were residents nearby that thought it was real, and they called the police,
Yes, yeah. The actual police
which
showed
is
up, and they're
crazy.
like, "We're just doing a TV show here, guys." Yeah, that was just yeah. It was
I mean,
blurring the
the
lines
whole year
between real and
changed. Everything
yeah,
changed in '96. It was the year. It was a fundamental change in direction for wrestling. WCW,
yes,
WWF, the whole game completely changed in '96. Definitely, it was never the same again.
no, no, no. That I mean, that was. I think that was the shot in the arm it needed. I think the NWO, to be fair. So
I
um,
loved it. It was great to watch.
it was,
I couldn't wait to see it every week. See what was going to happen next. It was brilliant. I mean, I
yeah,
said before the only thing that let it down for me was um, when I look back on that time. Over about a 2 or 3 year period, I'd probably find one or two matches that I would want to watch from
yeah,
WCW that meant something. I think Lex Luger and Goldberg winning the title, maybe from Hogan.
yeah,
Um, that would probably be the sort of events that they somehow managed to pull off and not screw it up. But most of
yeah.
the time, the main events in the ring
Were
were let
terrible.
down. That was,
Yes,
well, if they weren't terrible, they were just disappointing,
yeah. The
really.
finishes were
Or
always
they
disappointing,
didn't give you enough. You know,
or
they
they were
couldn't
always running
tell
out of time.
stories.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they're running out of time. They weren't as good at telling stories like Vince McMahon knew how to do. And
Well,
um,
we
you know,
we
I
discussed the
will mention
Starcade
it.
'97.
I will mention it just real briefly because I was just YouTube surfing a few nights ago, and I did see
Yeah,
it was an interview with Shawn Michaels. He'd recently become, um, oh no, it was right before Survivor Series actually. So they're
yeah,
promoting Survivor Series. He's on a talk show, and he actually speaks really, really well and very professionally as champion. And the host is asking him about all kinds of things, and he's saying, "Oh, it's rumored that Randy Savage is going to come back to WWF in late '96." And
yeah,
Sean kind of acknowledges the rumor, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, well, if he came back, it would be great. He's done so much for wrestling. He's like, it would be great for him to come back and pass the torch along."
yeah,
Which is immediately saying, "Yeah, it'd be great for him to come back, and I could beat him every night." Which is basically what he said.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and he kind of says, "Oh, or maybe I pass the torch back to him, whatever happens." But he knew
yeah,
what he wanted to say.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but it was just quite funny. Um,
Uh,
they were asking him about NWO and all the rest of it, and I just thought it was really interesting. He said, would you ever go
yeah,
to WCW?" And he's bearing in mind he's still the champion at this point, and he says,
yeah,
"Well, you never say never,"
yeah,
which is the right thing to say. But
yeah,
he says, "I can't imagine doing that because down there it's all about what the wrestlers can get, and it's the politics down there. Whereas here, it's like we care more about what the fans want." And he more or less was sort of implying, it's about
yeah.
Vince McMahon's vision for storytelling and where we're going to go. And it's like that. It's different. And he more or
Fair
less
enough.
just said, "Oh, it's just like dog eat dog down there in politics." He more or less said in a very polite and professional way that is effectively what he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
saying. Well, I just
yeah,
thought actually it's a pretty damn good take on it at that time
yeah.
because I think that's how it was. I do think that's how it was.
Although I think there was a time in like '97 where I think Sean wanted to go to WCW. I think the whole thing where he lost his smile,
Only
I
when he
think
had
he
his
was
spat.
seriously considering it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think that
No,
was when he was
he
seriously
had his little
considering it.
spat when he was beat up by Bret backstage, and he
Oh, that,
wasn't
yeah,
around
yeah,
much. And yeah,
yeah,
there's always going to be links and rumors like, in terms of the money and so on. But
yeah.
um, I mean, you never know. I think Eric Bischoff was asked hypothetically, what would you have done with Sean
Yeah.
if he'd come in? And I think he kind of struggled to answer, but I think
I
he pretty much said, well, he'd probably have put him with the clique,
the
and he'd
NWA.
have had
Yeah,
they would have been with for a little while, and then there'd be dissension in the ranks, and which all makes sense, I suppose.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there was just too much political um,
Crap
jockeying
going
for
on.
positions, I think, and creative control clauses here, there, and everywhere. I mean, no one's going to do the job ever. It's just
No,
how it felt.
no. It would just be like bloody count out finishes and disqualifications every night.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
standard WCW.
we did. I know we're sort of digressing, but why not? Um, we did the Starcade '97 show
Yeah.
not too long ago, and yeah, even now thinking about it, it's like shit. If there was ever an example of what Sean was saying in that interview I
Yes.
just mentioned, that was it. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck was that? Vince would never have let that happen on his show.
No. No. It was the biggest show of the night. Vince would have paid it off and done it right.
Well, he
Whereas,
would have told Earl Hebner to just ring the bell if he felt
yeah,
that strongly about it. But as
yeah,
we know, he
yes,
might from
yeah,
time to time. But he
yeah,
would have got the result he wanted, whatever.
he would have done. He would have done. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
he never would have had his whole promotion, have his collective pants pulled down in public like that.
No, no. And WCW, I mean, Stargate 97 for me was something that was going to be like their big event. And it just didn't deliver, in
They
my
didn't know
opinion.
what to do with it. They
No,
didn't know where they
no,
were going and what the hell would. Yeah, they didn't know what to do.
no. Oh, wow. Well, I guess we've spoken a lot about In Your House 6 and we've gone off on tangents to other stuff as well. So, I think the next episode we're going to do is WrestleMania 11. So we're going to go back to 1995, where Lloyd had already mentioned that 95 wasn't great, but wasn't terrible. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of WrestleMania 11.
Well, I tell you,
So
I'm actually looking forward to talking about this one because there's a lot going on at the time that's
there
worth
is a
talking
lot.
about. That is, you can look at the event and the matches and the outcomes all you want, but there's quite a bit going on around that time. I think's worth talking about.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. But I'm not a fan of the. I remember staying up late watching it and being really disappointed at the event itself. But anyway, That's for the next episode. So I'll say it every time. Is there anything else you want to talk about in your house 6 or anything else?
In
Or are
your
you
house
done?
six, is there anything else? No. Short answer.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, all right, guys. We shall see you on the next episode.